guys, welcome back to Sweetie Pie Pets. You may have heard this week that PetCo has stopped selling shock collars for dogs. Shock collars, more accurately known as dog training collars, works by sending a small electrical charge to your dog that helps to stop unwanted behaviors. So naturally, your first question might be, does a shock collar hurt the dog? And yes, of course they do. That's why they can be effective. But does that mean we should use them on our sweetie pies? Well, that's a decision you'll have to make for yourself. So in this video, I will go over the pros, cons, the myths, and what I do to help you decide for yourself if it's a good idea to use a training collar for your sweetie pie. If you enjoy my videos, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And it would be simply amazing if you could share my videos across all your social media platforms. Well, this is complicated. There really is no simple yes or no on this issue. I really do believe, as in most situations, you've got to make the decision for yourself whether it's a good idea to use a training collar for your sweetie pie or not. But what I don't like is when someone else tells you what you should or should not do. You need to make an informed decision and try not to be pestered by people who love to tell you what's right and what is wrong. And there's plenty of them. So here are the pros for a training collar. So the first thing to know is that a shock collar has 3 different settings. First a beep, then a vibrate, and then the shock option is last, which I'm going to demonstrate in a minute on myself. Some training collars require a person to activate them with a remote, and other training collars are voice activated in the case of a barking dog who needs a quick reprimand to stop the obsessive barking. So in that case, it would actually be activated when the dog barks. Training collars do not need to be worn all the time, but just in the occasion when the dog is exhibiting the unwanted behavior. Dogs are really smart, and I've heard that even after just a few experiences with the training collar, they learn really quickly. And then after that, even just showing them the collar or putting the collar on them eliminates the unwanted behavior without even having to use it. So if it's a matter of training the dog not to bark, the voice-activated collar might be the best option. The first bark will set off the beep, the second bark will do the vibration, and if they continue to bark, oopsies, a little shock. Now there are some collars out there that do not have the shock option. Those just simply vibrate or let out a tone. So if you have concerns over the shock, but you're okay with a vibrating or a beeping option, that might be the right collar for you. And as for the shock, let's just find out how bad it really is. I am scared. This is my friend's dog's training collar. She let me borrow it for this video demonstration. And I'm going to use it on myself to find out how badly it really hurts. And I do think that's important because if you do want to use a shock collar, it's probably wise that you know exactly how much you're hurting your sweetie pie. After all, if you can't do it to yourself, you certainly shouldn't make your sweetie pie go through with it. Okay, seems like it's already on. So this is the collar, which you would put on your dog's neck. It's really huge. And this is the remote that has a tone, a vibrate, and a shock option. And the shock level starts all the way down at level 0, and you can turn it up all the way up to level 100. And of course, experts recommend that you start at the lowest level possible and then increase as needed if that is required. Okay, so I'm just gonna push the tone button. It makes a little beeping sound. Now I'm gonna do the vibrate. And guess what? It vibrates. I don't know what level it's on. I don't want it to be on 100. Okay, I turned the shock down to 1, and I'm gonna try it, and I will admit that I'm very scared. Oh, I felt it. It wasn't even as strong as like a static electricity shock. It just actually felt like something kind of touching my arm. Oh, that was weird. I thought it was on 1, but it says 28. That was on level 28. Oh, I see. I was pushing the wrong button. I thought I was turning the electricity down to 1, but I was actually just turning the vibration down to 1. So I just shocked myself at level 28, and I did feel it. It just it got my attention, basically. So I think I'm gonna turn it up a little bit and try it again. So here's the remote. I'm just gonna push the up button. I'm gonna turn it up to 35. Okay, it is now on level 35, and I'm going to shock myself again. Okay, I felt it. It felt about like a static electric shock, like, you're bouncing on the trampoline or you're running around on carpet with socks on and then you touch somebody. Doesn't feel great, but it doesn't really hurt that bad. I think I'm going to turn it up even more. Okay, now it's on level 40. Should I try it? Not too bad. Just enough to get my attention. I certainly can feel it. Should I go up even more?
That's up to you.
Okay, I'm gonna go up to level 50. I definitely felt it a little bit more. So as I mentioned, you can go all the way up to level 100, but experts recommend that you start on the lowest level. And the point is just to get their attention. If you're trying to call your dog or do something and they are not doing what you say, then you can shock them just to get their attention and then redirect. However, there are cons as well. We're going to talk about those next. Well, first of all, there are some obvious concerns inflicting any kind of pain on our animal friends, which leads to questions on whether or not this is humane. I do worry that there might be some people who misuse the training collar. For instance, if you come down in the morning and find that your dog could not hold their bladder in the night, and then you, out of anger, shock them, they're going to be totally confused and have no idea why they are being hurt. A shock collar is not to be used that way. Training your dog is a time-consuming commitment, and there are no shortcuts. And a training collar is not a shortcut. A training collar is a negative reinforcement, and I try to use positive reinforcements with my sweetie pies. Chihuahuas are very sensitive dogs, and if they ever get spooked or harmed in any way, that can have long-lasting impacts. It can actually make it so that they are permanently fearful or timid, and that is not what you want for a Chihuahua. You want a proud, confident, and alert companion that does not fear you. I need more wine. Thank you. If the setting is too high and the dog just cries out in pain, then this is a misuse of the setting as well. The only way the collar can be effective is to minimize its usage. Don't leave the collar on him all the time. If used correctly, then often just putting on the collar eliminates the behavior then and there. And now, some myths to bust. I've heard some people say you have to break a strong-willed dog. Now, I really don't even know what that means, to break them. Sounds awful. You really want to encourage them and shape their will and help them find peace and harmony with their family. And that can be done through obedience training, play activities, and rewards. Scaring or hurting your Chihuahuas is never a good idea. And next, a training collar will not train your dog. It is a tool that can be used, but it is not meant to replace the time and effort that needs to be put in on your part. Now, a lot of my viewers will want to know what I do. And I personally have never used a training collar on my Chihuahuas. However, I have seen the results on some other strong-willed dogs. I have seen training collars used on larger breeds, and when they would not follow a direction that they're familiar with, the collar would give off the little electric charge. And that makes the dog go back into compliance. Now, is that a successful way to train your dog? I'm not really sure, but I have seen some very strong-willed dogs. In the cases that I have witnessed, the shock collar was only used after lots and lots of training and lots of positive reinforcement, and only then used sparingly. And I'll have to say, it was successful. But again, for me, I have never used one before on my sweetie pies. That doesn't mean you would never have to, but I just have never had to. In fact, this collar I had to borrow from my friend in order to demonstrate. Well, there you have it. I hope that I helped to provide the facts and information in order to help you make your own decision about training collars. And I would never criticize you for using one. Our little furry friends just want to love us and cuddle us. And a scared dog is only going to fear you. And as long as you've explored other options and you have put in the time and the effort to train your sweetie pie and only want to consider the training collar as a final potential option, well, that's fine. But I guess you won't be going to PetCo for it. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. We will see you next time on Sweetie Pie Pets. Bye-bye.